Hey there troops, it's me TheTacticalBrit, and today I'm bringing you a brand new weekly series, Tactical Tuesday. Now a lot of you guys have watched me play games both on Twitch, YouTube, wherever you happen to have seen me play, and I always get a lot of questions about things that I do and things that I go for in game, and I've decided to make a series about it. So whether you're a seasoned veteran or a beginner, you guys will have a good way of understanding ways that you can improve your game, get more kills, win more objectives, and all in all just have a better experience in Battlefield 5. And today I want to kick it off with talking about exploiting maps. And no, I don't mean the weird, how can I sort of tunnel under this rock or get under the map or cause some weird glitch. I mean using the very fundamentals of the map in your favor in order to execute some of the best games you possibly can. And I mean this from both a PTFO standpoint as somebody who can capture objectives and win games, but also as somebody who definitely wants a shit ton of kills. Nobody plays Battlefield to die repeatedly, and it would be silly to think that that would be the case. And in this scenario, I think I can give you guys lots of information as to how you can rack up a massive number of points and do really well on the field simply by using the layout of the map in your favor. The first and most basic way of exploiting a map in your favor is using its telemetry, and this is something that you can see from a sort of development statistical standpoint, but also if you have simply enough map knowledge to do so, and you'll find yourself getting this as you play the game. In Battlefield 5, we know where the objective points are, be it on conquest, ground operations, or anything in between, and you can learn very quickly how players tend to move between those objectives and what you can do to capitalize on that movement. And there are two ways you can do this. One, you can exploit the movement itself by finding positions that make a lot of sense and positions that will easily equate to kills and preventing objectives being captured. And two, you can actually exploit the objective itself by knowing what will and won't be occupied at any given point. So the first one is very simple. The first one is just a simple understanding of how players move between objectives. And if you know that, and if you know, for example, on ground operations on Devastation of Rotterdam, that people are going to be flowing heavily into the church, for example, or flowing heavily in and around the church, you can take up positions in and around those places that will allow you to execute kills that otherwise previously weren't there. And there are plenty of examples of this on the map that you can exploit and use to your ability. And I think what makes this a standout tactic is simply the fact that you are contributing to an objective by killing people by not necessarily actually being on the objective itself, because most people will always attract themselves to those big flashing symbols on the screen, and if you know how they tend to get there, then you can do everything within your ability to take them on in a non-conflictual manner, but in a way that allows you to be the victor, allows you to have the jump, and allows you to capitalize as best as humanly possible. The second way of winning simply is exploiting the objective itself. We know, for example, that on Devastation, the church is a key focus point, and it's a massive choke point on the map that people will flock into on the minimal entry points the church actually has, which is the fronts, the two sides, and the back. And you know that people are going to go into those objectives, and you know it's going to be heavily occupied. But what about the other one? What about the one that's, somewhere in the distance like the library? It's very easy to go to that objective and make a powerful play on both capturing the objective itself and exploiting lots of kills because you're going to force players to move. So if you happen to beeline your way over to an objective and not even fire a bullet, and I highly recommend this, there are times where I will run to objectives, I will not engage people and not fire my weapon because I know it's more beneficial not to. I don't want to attract attention to what it is I'm doing. And the best thing about it is that once you actually get into those positions, you start capturing these objectives, after you happen to take out, if there is any resistance there, what there is, then it's very easy to actually shift players over to where you anticipate them being. And it allows you to set up in these objectives. I had a huge example of this when I was playing over in Sweden, where I quite literally ran to the library. I was the last and only guy there. Everybody else was in the church doing the typical thing that most common players do, where they just lob grenades at each other, die, run back into the choke point, die again, repeat, rinse, repeat, and just end up dying over and over again with no actual gain. And because I managed to get into that objective and start capturing, I didn't necessarily win the game, so to speak, but I actually managed to stop the game being a loss there and then because I managed to get the ticket bleed going down before they'd captured both objectives. And more importantly, alongside that, I actually shifted the entire flow and telemetry of the game towards me. Because I knew I started capturing the objective, the second they saw that ticket going down, and they knew they wanted both of them, they were going to start coming towards me, and I knew most of them were at the church. I thought exactly how it was that they were going to get to me. I knew that that they were going to use certain routes in alleyways. I knew that the entry points would always be facing towards the direction of the church and nobody would typically come through the back, and it allowed me to lay down some trip mines, it allowed me to get positioned, and really, all in all, it made a really powerful play on the overall effect of the game. I think it's very safe to say, without, bragging rights, but definitely with some bragging rights too, had I not gone to that objective, we would have lost. We would have lost the game there and then, and it would have been really damn poor. It would have been a poor way to lose, especially considering we're supposed to be like, game changers who are good at the game and stuff. The final and really simple way of actually doing really well on these maps as well is actually exploiting some of the avenues the game presents you. You'll notice that Battlefield 5 has an improved movement system, and this includes things like jumping over really tall walls, vaulting and everything in between, and you can use that to your advantage a lot of the time. There were times where it was simply as easy as jumping through a window to get behind an enemy, or vaulting over a wall that they weren't anticipating, and you can utilize that a massive amount in the game in order to pull off some great kills, and I think it's something lots of people should look into incorporating into their game. So troops, that's about it for today's Tactical Tuesday. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Ask me questions as well. And this is a weekly series happening every Tuesday now, alongside some other ones that I'm bringing this week as well. So as always folks, thank you for having me. It's been me, TheTacticalBrit, and I'll see you again soon in the next video.